You're welcome once again, my people. So this video, I want us to talk about this woman. Her name is Ngozi Fulani. And I think for her to be able to be invited into the royal family program or whatever they are doing inside the palace, that she will be of someone that is of high standing, that, you know, she's doing well for herself. And she has a business, they call it Sister Place. And she was invited to the royal family. And this woman you are seeing here is like the handbag of the late queen. She used to work with the late queen very closely, and she has worked for the late queen for more than 60 years. And as a matter of fact, when the queen was going to the funeral of her husband, this is the only woman that was sitting with her inside the car to escort her when they were going to bury her husband. For you to know how high her rank is, she's the only woman that was sitting in the car, inside the car that drove the queen to the funeral of her husband, to the burial of her husband. So they are in that party together. Enter this woman. And this woman was looking at her and was like, got curious. And then she according to this lady, she said she came to wear, because of course you have to wear name badge. You are in a very, very, the highest of the highest places on earth, you know. So he now removed her, you know, hair, you know, the hair she's wearing, to see her name properly. And then she's looking and she said, okay, Ngozi Fulani. And she's like, okay, where are you from? And the woman was like, okay, where am I from? You understand? She was like, I'm from, let me show you the conversation. So I hope you can read it. And she's like, where are you from? Then she answered her and said, Sister Place, as in where she's, as in this is her business, this is what she's known for, maybe, you know. And so that's where she's coming from. And then this lady that her name is here, this godmother of Prince William, is saying, no, where do you come from? Then Miss Fulani said, we are based in Hackney. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. And the lady was like, no, no. What part of Africa are you from? And Miss Fulani said, I don't know. They didn't leave any records. And then the lady, SH, you know, that's what she's calling her, you know. Well, you must know where you are from. I spent time in France. Where are you from? You know, and this is the message the woman is saying. And then Miss Fulani said, here, UK. And the lady, she's still not certified. She said, no, but what nationality? And then the lady went on to say, I am born here. I'm British. And the lady is still not satisfied. She said, no, but where do you really come from? Where do your people come from? Then the Miss Fulani was like, my people, lady, what is this? And she's like, oh, I can see. I am going to have a challenge getting you to say where you are from. When did you first come here? Right? And that one is like, okay, lady, I am a British national. My parents came here in the 50s when, the woman, I said, oh, I knew we would get there in the end. You are Caribbean. And then the woman said, no, lady, I am of African heritage, Caribbean descent, and British nationality. You understand? So the woman was irritated and she was not happy with that interrogation. And for what purpose? And this is an 83-year-old woman. This is someone that has been in the highest places of power in the whole world all her life, more than 60. That's what she has done in a career. Of what use is this in question for her? You know, that is one aspect of this conversation. And the other aspect of this conversation is, why is it hurting Miss Fulani? You know, why does it hurt? Why is it a painful something? Why do people feel attacked by that question? And you know, what is the What is the need that you have that that question violates within you, that makes you to become very angry and feel violated, feel, you know, like someone has come against you? You understand? I think that this is something we need to explore. For me personally, for example, I'm a first generation immigrant, right? And even though I have German citizenship, it has never occurred to me to not say where I am from if someone asks me, you know. Like I told you, the second thing you are going to answer after your name is the question, where are you from? It's persistent. It's every time you meet somebody, is where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? So I mean, that question is always there. It's going to be there. It doesn't matter where you are and all those things, you know. So for me, that is like a first generation immigrant, you know. Okay, I know, like, I've lived part of my life here and I'm living part of my life here. But for someone that is born here, for example, and he's lived all his life here, and he has this heritage, but it has nothing to do with that place, I've never been there, you know, that kind of a thing. What is, you know, what is it in that question that violates? You know, I would really like to have your input. You can call in, you can come in. I'll share the link so you can tell us, you know, what is it about this question, where are you? Where are you from? Is it racist? Is it curiosity? You understand? Because it's something we need to explore, you know. Admin, please help me to remove anybody that writes any foul language and aggressive, any kind of bingoism we don't need. Ah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you for that confirmation. Yeah, they always ask you where you are from, you know. And for example, in my experience here in Germany, when you are meeting new people or in any setting, it's almost like, you know, it's an interrogation. And you know what is not nice about it is, like, it's not like you were, like, you are getting friendly with this person and you get talking and then something happens, and you know, like, you know, you just get friendly and then you start, I just see that out of you know, some kind of inquisitive curiosity, somebody just comes across to you, like he's looking at you. It's almost like a piece of article in a museum. You know, you just kind of fall out of place and they take interest in you, and then you're like, where are you from? You know, that kind of a thing. And how long have you been here? When did you come here? Oh, you were born in Nigeria. You know, that kind. You know, when they are like kind of satisfied with their interrogation, they just move away, and that will be it. Like there will be no friendliness thereof. There will be nothing. Like they just want to satisfy that curiosity, and to what end you will never get to know. And when this happens persistently, you begin to feel that sense of violation, like, you know, like, what the heck, you know, I'm not here to, you know, fill in the gap for your curiosity. Like, I'm not a piece of art. I'm not a piece of something in the museum that you come in, you look, you ask questions about it, and you move on, you know. Those questions are legitimate questions. They are questions you can ask, but to what end? For example, if this woman, she's looking at her there, so obviously she has fallen out of place for her. Like, she's like, who is this one that, yeah, like, how did she get here? No, all those kind of questions. This is a something of class, you know, classism. And when, you know, people who have been in this upper class all their life and operating in that horizon, and all of a sudden you see like someone that is not usually someone you are supposed to see there, or you expect to see there, and that person is like a unicorn. Then you come in, you know, with your privilege, and you know, like, you know, you have this air and, well, whatever personality you have around you, and gives you that privilege to come in into someone, to just come and barge into someone and start interrogating them, you know. So assuming they were sitting at a table and they were eating together, or they were undertaking something together, and they've been, you know, like, you know, they've just kind of falling into some kind of conversation and are getting along, and along the line, those kind of questions is coming, is a different thing. But it's different when someone just kind of spots you and walks across to you to interrogate you for whatever purpose they do that, whether to kind of subject you to some kind of mental repression, so that you kind of put you in your place and say like, okay, you may be here, but you know where you are from. You should think more about where you are from. You don't belong here, basically. So you are not, you are here, you may be here, but you don't belong here. You are from somewhere else. And I feel like it's hurting, because there is a need to belong for the people who are born and raised and lived their life there the whole time. And they've gone through the school system, they've lived there, they live the culture, and that is what they know. And they have that need to belong, to be to have that appreciation that, yeah, they belong here also, and to acknowledge that, like in German we say wertschätzend anerkennung, like, so you kind of recognize their presence, that, yeah, they may have this skin, but you recognize that in this day and age we still have people who are of this skin color, who are actually British national, that you recognize that and you acknowledge that, and that you appreciate them and appreciate that about them, and not use that as a tool for repression, to put them down and say you don't belong, like implicitly saying you don't belong here. You understand? That is how I interpret it, you see. So these people who are born here, they give all their all for the country. They will defend the country. They will be in the military. They will go, they will be teachers. They will be everything, doctors, serving this country. And they feel that sense, that need. It's a natural need that people have. The sense and the need to belong, to be part of something, And for you to constantly violate that basic human need and say you don't belong here, in the way you are using your emotion and your words, and your body language to communicate that to them, to tell them that they don't belong here. And that is why it hurts these people. It hurts them every time. And for some of us that are coming from Nigeria, for example, we are first generation, we may not really feel the impact. But I'm telling you, our children and their children, they will feel that impact, because we may have come from Nigeria, but they don't come from Nigeria. They are not in Nigeria. They didn't live in Nigeria. They don't, you understand? Like, if they would go to Nigeria, Nigerians will still look at them as foreigners, these Oyibo children, all these Londoner, these Janded children. They will never also see them and appreciate them as one of their own. They'll be using that Oyibo eye to be looking at them. And so the children feel, this is their home, this is, their country, they have the passport. And then every day of their life, they have to deal with this communication that they get across to them that they don't belong there. There's something it does to the psyche, it just kind of makes them anxious. It destroys their self-worth, And then the question is, what can be done? Because this question is not going to go away. And especially if they know that they can use it to get at you. If they know when they ask you that question, it throws you off, it just kind of messes your mental health up, psychologically, it's repressive for you. Mean-spirited people, they are always going to use that tool. What can we do? How can we overcome that? And what can we teach our children in that regard? Um, does your need to belong effectively like the question I may want to ask is, does your need to belong, to be part of what is going on, to be part of the society that you were born and bred, erase your roots, like, makes your roots irrelevant for all your lives, and is it something that is appropriate for us to aspire to, that if we get to this point, we just kind of cut off with our root, especially if everyone wants to use our root to kind of identify us. It's like what is happening with Black Americans. Some of them even say that they are not Africans, they are Black Americans. Because they don't have anything to do with Africa anymore. But there's always that kind of subliminal way to connect you to Africa as a way of limiting you. I feel like the reason why they kind of put, either they put that Africa or they put that Dudu underneath whatever they are doing, is like, you know, to connote something that is as a disadvantage to you. Because if they say Black American, that means you're American, you are Black, right? If they say African American, it means there is something about you that doesn't belong here. It belongs somewhere else. And because they are the one that have the power to define the whole thing and put the structures in place, it has a role it's playing in the lives of people, and how people are kind of having to go out every day and brace. It's like brace. You don't know what is coming. It's like you brace yourself. You brace yourself every day of your life. You have to brace yourself, because when you are going out, you don't know what you are going to come across, and it's not an easy thing that people are going through every day. The burden is huge. Like you have the usual burden to pay your fees, to pay your bills, to go to school, your health care, your roof, and all those things. And then you have this psychological burden that nobody sees, but you are way down with it. You feel it all the days of your life. I feel like we in the community, in the Black African community, we're supposed to talk about something like this, so that we can give ourselves the tools, or the mindset how to combat this thing, and how to reduce the impact of that pain, or that violation that you feel, that thing that hurts you about this person asking you that question. I feel we need to talk about it so that we can diffuse the tension within us, so that even someone is bringing that as a means to kind of come against you, or to kind of attack you or something like that, that you already have your own self-defense mechanism inbuilt, that it doesn't get to you. I don't know if I'm talking too far. I hope I'm coming across to you guys in the way I'm thinking about it. So I feel like this is something that you're going to deal with, and I feel like yeah, the state of the African continent on its own is not something that anyone wants to be connected to, because of the misleadership that is causing the extreme poverty and all those kind of a thing. Even though Africa is supposed to be the richest, I mean, it's the richest continent on earth, right? Material wise, everything is the biggest continent, is the richest. But because I feel we don't really understand our place, and how to maneuver the whole situation that we find ourselves, this poverty is not going away anytime soon. And the implication is that it is how the lowest of us is treated, it looks like, what he's able to afford, what his life is able to look like, still gonna be what they will use to kind of attribute to us and say, okay, this is how I see you. You may be here, you may be here in the palace, you may be here in Buckingham Palace having all this groove, but when I look at you, I see a child, an African child in the slum, and so I want to know which part of this slum you are coming from, right? Say it's not easy. The system does not allow you powers. Yeah, I know the system doesn't. Um, Blessings of the Fulani. I'm telling you. That's why one was really angry and was very angry and was actually insulting me. Didn't know that I'm not even the one. I'm talking about something else. So our brother is writing something. He said, Ngozi Fulani, now 61, said her parents, who had moved to Britain from Barbados as part of the Windrush generation, embraced everybody and never allowed the barriers we faced outside to be brought into the house in Kilburn, northwestern London. Well, you know, Africa was not set up for Africa. It was set up by those who did not see us as equals. Their intention was to put us down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, it is what it is. It's not easy. Like every day as an African person, and it's like um you live in a house that you don't have a hand in how it was set up. It's like when you rent a furnished apartment. That's I think that's how close it can be. So it's like when you rent a half furnished a furnished apartment, and so everything is already set. So you come in there and you're like, okay, sit here. Okay, yeah, this is the bed. This is where you can lie. Okay, this is the kitchen area. This is where you're allowed to cook, stuff like that. And yeah, it is like that. And what are we gonna do about it? Yeah, it's not enough to blame. It's not enough. If your livelihood, if the livelihood of people depend on what is on your soil, um, they are gonna do what they have to do, and it's left for you to do what you have to do, try what you have to try to succeed. But if you don't understand what is happening, then you don't have any other person to blame other than yourself. But that is already too deep. Our people don't want to go there, but I think for our young people that are growing up in the diaspora, young adults, even elderly people, we need to talk about the coping mechanism for something like this. For me, as a first time immigrant, it's very easy because I've lived in Nigeria, I've lived even in my village, I've lived in different parts of Nigeria, and I've visited other African countries, for example. So wherever you go, that's the question. And do you know, these days I find out that even when I meet Nigerians and they start probing, well, you are from, oh, you're from Nigeria, where, which part of Nigeria? And then you tell them, I'm from so 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 place. Oh, where, and then it gets, it gets irritating again. And like, okay, let's leave it there. Like, you know it's enough now. So I feel like there is a genuine curiosity. I don't know. There's a natural thing about people wanting to know where you come from, for example. But it's because of the situation of the racism and all the ish that is going on. And so when someone is coming at you with that question, you don't know what to do with it again. You don't know what to do with it again. And especially when you are in a highbrow community corridor of space like that, and someone is just coming to you. And I've told my children, and I know for myself, that when someone sees you as an African person like this, and they're asking you where you are from, you know I would think that it's natural that they want to know your African roots, really. And I feel like we should own it. We should not use it, we should not allow it to be used as a tool of oppression where you are from. Own it, you know, and keep it going. Or you walk away from the situation, like, for example, like, you don't have to say anything. Everything is a communication, whether you say something or you don't say anything. If somebody say, where are you from? And you just kind of, excuse me for a moment, you walk away. Like, it's not going to do anything to you if if the person is probing. If you want to answer the person, say, you may say, okay, why are you asking? Of what importance is it to you? Like, you don't know me, I don't know you, and you're walking up to me to ask me where I am from. How does where I am from affect you in this very moment? You can also throw the question back to unsettle the person. The two can play that game. It depends on. So I feel like we should become more resilient, emotionally and cognitively more resilient. Even though we are already, because we take in so much, but we can still be more. Like, better and best is the way to go. We can get better at it, and have your questions and answers ready. Yeah, you can't walk away. That you can change the topic. Like, you can throw it back to the person. Like when you are with someone is in a taxi, and the person start asking you, where are you from? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Right? But it depends. Like I said, if you are having a friendly conversation with somebody, and the person, you are flowing, for example, hey, how you doing? You're talking about it. Oh my God, how was the day? Like this song, and then you are getting into the conversation, and you going in, and now talk, they bring talk. So you talk about this and talk about this, and then you can get into, like, oh, in my home country, this is in my culture, this is how we do it. And what culture are you from? What, it's a different thing. You understand me? Or like when you are in a setting and somebody just walks up to you and looks at your name shield, it's a different thing. I've been in conferences that I'm just minding my business, and you see that they will come to me like, the coffee on our table is finished, because they are assuming that I'm the one to get them coffee, right? Right. You know, and I just look at them. I just like, the first time I didn't really like understand what was going on. I was in a conference, and we came down from the hotel lodge, and we're supposed to get breakfast. So there's a buffet, and I went to the buffet to get something to eat. So I was coming to the table where my colleagues were sitting. I was coming to sit there, and then this man was like pointing to me. I was like, the coffee on their table is finished, and I was like, whatever, like, I just ignored him, and then I sat down. And then he came back to me where I was sitting. I was like, I was telling you that the coffee is finished. And I was like, and I looked at him like, what is going on? Like, what exactly is going on here? you know and then he walked away. And then later he would just, oh, he's sorry, like, and I've had that question. I've had that look. And all these things is telling you that you are out of place. You are out of place. You are out of place. You are not, you are not the kind of person we expect here. So then in this case, like, they are not asking me like, where are you from, but like, why are you here? Like, you would definitely be the waiter. You would definitely be the one that is the one serving people. And then it's difficult also for you to be angry, because the service people are just people who look like me. Most of the people in hospitality section, the workers, they were just people like me also. And they were black. They were dressed in, they dressed well looking ladies, and they were people like me. And so, it was, like, to think, okay, she's one of the service people, but I was not one of them. And so, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if I get offended that, I'm not a service person, I might say that I'm better than the other ladies who are actually service people and earning their living, right? So these are things that we have to confront at any time. I remember one time I was in a fair, like it was like a trade fair, like something like I was representing a company there, and then every time they they were having times that they bring food around or bring things around, and I just see people asking me, when is it coming? Like maybe I'm just going to the restroom, I'm coming back, people like asking me, what time is the food coming? What time is it? Like it was like, you know, I'm just there to fulfill one need or the other. Like, I cannot be one of the people who have come to be in this conference. I must be one of the people who have come to serve the people who are in this conference, you know. So this is a situation I've been confronted with most of the time. And I believe people who work in corporate sessions, people who work sometimes even in hospitals, all this, and this is the situation that they will face most of the time. For example, if you be working in the hospital and you are a doctor, most of the time they will be mistaking you for the nurse, right? Because they'll be thinking you are the nurse. Because and then do you want to get angry that you are mistaken for the nurse? Because a lot of our sisters are also nurses, right? I don't know. Like, so I feel like we should just try to put it in perspective, because I feel like these kind of things, like where are you from, are the least things that bother us. Eh? No, I'm not dressing like a waiter. That's the funny thing. I'm not. No, but just because I was there, I'm not dressing like a waiter. Normally, you wear a corporate outfit when you're in a corporate setting or something like. I'm not like, it depends on where you are at. Like if you are in a corporate sector, you dress corporately. If it's a social setting, you don't need to do elaborate dressing. You just dress socially. Um, I am not like, I'm just like even the lady that was beside me was like smiling, was like, because we were dressed the same, basically the same, because we're representing the same firm. She's from France, the other one is a German lady, and myself. And we were dressed alike because we are representing the same firm. And our chef, the company leader was like, well, that he's just kind of happy the way, like he's glad the way I'm taking the whole thing with humor. Like, I'm not getting blown up and disoriented and all. But he doesn't know that I was thinking about it. Like I thought about it, and I was thinking about it. Like, should I get offended? And I thought about it. Like, but these are also our sisters who are doing this thing. Am I saying that I'm better than them? Like, would that be justified? Without, if I would rage and say, no, hey, I'm not a waiter. I'm not here to serve you. Like, what would I be saying about our sisters that are actually here, and they are waiters? Am I saying that I'm actually more valuable than them? I don't know. Exactly, exactly, something like that. You know, exactly. You get the point. You get the point. It's almost like you have contaminants, and you are gonna cause them some kind of problem, all those kind of a thing. So it's difficult, but I feel like we need to talk about it, because we need to give our youth, and one of the things we take away from living in Nigeria and having lived in Nigeria is the resilience that you have, your spirit. Emotively, you are very resilient. And admin, please help me to remove this person that came to. I don't know why I can't delete the post that the stupid comments that they make here. You know, uh, you understand? Yeah. So, it's something that we deal with. I just use that as an example, but it happens way, way, way more often. It happens way, way, way often, and sometimes when you are somewhere and you are given a responsibility that it is not usually what is given to our people. For example, in most organizations, most times you will see our people that they are just able to, man must have something doing. It's not like, most times there is underemployment in our ranks. Most of our people, regardless of their qualification, they are underemployed, and they have to do those jobs because they have to earn a living one way or the other. So most times they are used to seeing them in these kind of situations where they are just maybe doing cleaning work, picking up after people, arranging something, assistant here and there. And so when they see you in a position that gives you more authority, that kind of a thing. And then, like, it challenges their perception that people from this community are not supposed to be in such places, like that. We are not cognitively elevated enough, or we don't have the mental rigor to take up such responsibilities. So, like, they don't expect that you will be there, something like that. You understand? So, for example, sometimes when you will be like for us that we went to school, for example, most of the time they form groups, and you see yourself, like, they'll say, okay, they want a group of 2 or 3 people to discuss, maybe to do a class work. They say, then you see yourself left alone. And most of the time the teachers are going to be grappling with trying to fix you up with one, because you rarely you see anybody wanting to be in your group or wanting you to be part of their group. It's a challenge you have to face all the time, and you just kind of be looking at yourself. And I don't know how it is for young people. That's actually when I'm in that kind of situation, I'm thinking about the young people, like me. I've gone through Nigerian system, I've gone through our own tribalism and all those kind of a thing. And when I am coming from with a lot of resilience already. My spirit, my emotion are like tough, like, anything will happen, may happen. So far, I get what I'm looking for. But you have people who have another background, people who were raised here. They don't have that mindset of thinking, they want to feel all the feelings there is to feel. And because of that, is messing up with their psychology, and affecting their self-worth, affecting their self-worth. And it's almost like their life has no value. And this kind of thing happens. For example, you want to go and rent an apartment, and then maybe they will listen to you. You sound British, you sound, your German is good enough. They have not seen you, they don't know what you look like. And then you come there, and then all of a sudden the job is taken. All of a sudden you are not qualified. All of a sudden, for example, the house has been taken, whatever it is. And by the time you are entering their space, they're like, okay, wow, this is not what they were expecting. That's why it hurts me what is going on in Nigeria, and how we are the one doing the same things that we're talking about to ourselves. You understand? For me, I would like to, in conclusion, not to talk too long. I think the most important thing that you can take from this is, don't let it get to you. It's not about you, it's about them. If you are somewhere and someone just comes across and feel like they have the privilege to come and interrogate you, don't give them that room. We are having a lot of challenges at this time. We are having a lot of challenges, and it was worse. It was worse. It used to be very bad, but we were born at a time that, we hope to see more progress. But for the meantime, we need the coping mechanism to know that, there are people who may want to ask you this out of genuine curiosity, and sometimes they will start with, is it okay if I ask you where you are from, or where your parents from, something like that. um you have to look at it like, okay, why does you why you have to think about, why does this person want to know this information about me, right? And it may be a way of you giving them your power, surrendering to their manipulation. Then don't do it. Yeah, they can come up anywhere with you and be asking that kind of question. So anyhow, you can manage the situation. The main issue is, don't let it get to you. Don't let it offend you. Don't let it offend you. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, I'll find any rationale that you will use to make it not to offend you, right? Because if it doesn't offend you, you will not feel violated. And if you don't feel violated, then you are all good. You move on with your day without any problem. Exactly. Everybody is trying to everybody is trying to use whatever they feel makes them better than the others, right? So the royal family put out this statement and said, the Buckingham Palace said of Tuesday's event, we take this incident very extremely seriously and have investigated immediately to establish the full details. So going forward, um the woman has been um suspended, like she has resigned from her I think it's some kind of work that she does out of royalty, like she's not getting paid or something like that. So a voluntary work, I've forgotten the word for it now. So yeah, you are never going to be in the mind of everybody, or know the kind of psychological attack they are coming with, but you can build your defense and make yourself not vulnerable to their machinations of manipulations. You really can. And I think we can teach our children, for them not to take offense. There's nothing wrong for you to mention where your parents come from. What is the person going to use that information to do? Let him go and buy himself if he wants. There's no big deal. There's no big deal. If you have Asian features, you are also confronted with that question, where are you from? Because they are looking at, even though you are lived in America or your generation, you have Asian features like Chinko features, they are going to say, where are you from? Where are you from? It's a question you are going to be grappling with all the time. So I think number one thing to do is not to let it get to you. And if you cannot diffuse it, if you cannot ignore it, then you can also learn to say wherever you are from, and let that place you are from not be something that should be painful to you. Let wherever your parents are from not to be something that will be painful to you. And let it not be that your roots is something that will take away joy for you to mention, regardless of how many times you mention it, right? Yeah, yeah. Like for example, if you are from the royal family of Britain, and anywhere people are asking, where are you from, where are you from, you are going to have pride in saying, I'm from the royal family, and even you will be telling them before nobody asks you. So I think learn to incorporate it in your conversation. Let nobody take it as a weapon against you, because when you are trying to evade that question, it's like, you are hiding something. There's no big deal, like someone asks you from where you are from, say, oh, I have roots all over the place, I have family from here and here, whatever, and then you ask, you have you always been here? Did your family live here? Are you have your family lived here all their generations? Something like that, and keep it moving. Don't let it get to you. Let's teach ourselves. Let's teach our children. Yeah. So my people, I don't know if anybody has any other thing that to add to this conversation. I feel I've said everything I wanted to say, even though I may be saying some personal things, but I think, yeah, So I think we should, like, even though Nigeria is how it is, even though Ghana is how it is, still, even though regardless, you can say it that my parents come from Senegal. We have roots in Senegal. Period. What's that gonna? Why should that hurt you? It shouldn't. We should be able to have pride also, in spite of it. And as a matter of fact, we can also say, well, if not that you guys came in, it will not still be how it is. So I believe that we can empower our children by, teaching them that regardless of the height they reach, the common denominator they will be used to look at them is that Africanness. And they should own it, because if you are trying to evade it, it's like, you are trying to escape it. No, there is no success in escaping your Africanness. There is nothing else. Like, me, even I learned when I make a call, I'll say, hi, it's Blessing, the African, like, like, I am who I am. I'm always gonna be an African. So I don't know how else to, like, if you are not gonna be okay with it, then don't be okay it from the onset, right? And if you're going to be okay, if you can manage it, so be it. If you cannot manage it, then, it is how it is. It is hard, then so be it. So let it not be something that will be hurting you because someone asks you, where are you from? And then all your emotion. Oh, and so what? Your parents came from the Caribbean. And so what? Is that the biggest thing? Yeah? Once you have dark skin, you have African roots, right? Yeah, we have African roots. We moved over so many years ago, and that's it, right? I remember one time I met a Black American here in Germany, and I was like, wow, like, are you from Africa? And he was like, yeah, he used to be African, but they took them to the US and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, so your family moved from Africa. Then in that started time, there used to be transatlantic trade, and he was telling me, I said, okay. So he's a Black American, but he was trying to explain himself to me, like, there was once upon a time they used to be African, and then they were taken through the ocean to the Americas, and then something like that. So he's a Black American national, right? And for example, here in Germany, the way they will treat you if they know you are Black American is also different if they know you are African. Like, there's a lot of classism there, right? So teach your children there is no pain in it. Let it not be a painful experience. Let it not be something that someone should feel violation about. Even though the intent may be to violate you for whatever reason, but don't give them that power. Just say where you are from and move on. You want to know where I am from? Well, now you know. Keep it moving, right? Yeah. So I'm from Nigeria. So I've lived here and the questions never end. It's like an interrogation. Oh, hello, where are you from? Where are you from? I'm from Nigeria. Oh, when did you come here? How long have you lived here? How many children do you have? Where does the question end? That's the problem, because their curiosity get over them. They can ask you as personal things, as far as like the children you have, did you plan them? Did it just happen? You would just be looking at them like seriously, like, are you really asking me this now at this point in time that was like was my child and wunsch kind, like, is this a child? Did you wish for this child? you know exactly, like, how did you come, how did you, like, all those kind of a question, whatever, because you want to know, do you want to know if I am one of the people that came through the sea? So there are so many questions that ask you that just kind of gets your mind crazy, right? So where does it end? That's the question. So if you allow this one to hurt you, do you allow the other one to hurt you too? you know yeah. Exactly. Say, few days ago someone asked me where I am from. I said Nigeria. The man said, Nigeria? Ask him. I told him there's screamer in everywhere. He laughed and let me go. Exactly, so don't let it get to you. Nowadays, a lot of Nigerians say, if you ask them where are they from, they will say, I'm from Africa. They say, I know, but where exactly in Africa? It's like, because they know you are trying to evade that singular question that, like, Nigeria, for example. So I am Nigerian. So I will even introduce myself. Like, I'll say, hello, where are you from? Like, I'm trying to, like when they say, can you say, like, because here in every new gathering they are like, let's talk about yourself a little bit. You have to introduce yourself. Say, hi, my name is Blessing. I'm originally from Nigeria, and I came here and I've been here for like, I have so and blah blah blah, and I live in this part of the city, blah blah blah, and point. So what else do you want to know, and why? Because the things I've said are the things I feel is important, and the things I feel comfortable communicating. Any other thing you want to know is private. So you have to answer me the question, why? Why am I such an object of interest to you that you want to know more personal details about me? For example. Exactly, like I believe, Falasha, I believe that you would have grown up in Nigeria, but there's a difference when you grow up in Nigeria and when you are growing up here. The people who struggle with this are not first generation immigrants. They are usually second, third generation immigrants. For example, my child has a child, and that child has a child, for example. Those are the people that are going to struggle with the root thing. Yeah. Abio, those are the people that will struggle with it, not we, right? It's the people that are coming after us. That's why, for example, I'll look at this our Nigerian immigrants that in the US, they'll be looking at Black American, they will say, this one, they are Kata, they are like, they don't know that that thing you are seeing there will be attributed to your children just in another 2 generations. Even in the next generation, all they making it go happen for your eyes. Yeah, there's none like me. I actually say, like, if you, because when I was doing my YouTube video, I remember they said I have to introduce myself, do a short clip. I said it, I am a Nigerian. Like, I say it, so like you don't have to second guess me. So there's no room for you to come and ask question. And I've never had the need to, like, for example, for the reason that I have German citizenship, to say I am German. I've never had that need, right? I've never had that need. But my children may have that need because they don't know any other country other than Germany. They never lived anywhere else for now other than Germany. So if they are grown into adults and living here and working here, and then you start asking them, where are they from? Well, where are they from? You get? That's where the problem starts. But for us, first generation immigrant, it's not a problem. And I feel we should teach our children that this is the eyes that people are going to be using to see you. So own it. Because of me, this background is going to be attributed to you. So own it. Say it. It's part of you. Don't hide from it, right? Let it be something you say first. Own that identity. Let it be part of you. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, look at Megan that Prince Harry married. You could barely tell she's white, but the day they were doing the marriage, the wedding celebration, they were showing it on German television. It was always, the only topic was her blackness. Oh, black. Oh, look how black. Oh, her black. Oh, her black. Her black. Like, and this is someone that you could barely see the darkness in her skin, in her features, like, but that tiny that part of her kind of enveloped the every other thing, every other conversation, even till today. So it doesn't matter whether you will still have black skin. If they can notice any feature in you, it's already a denominator. They will keep bombarding you. And I know Germans, maybe for some reason they have dark hair, just that they have black hair. They get that question also, where are you from? And it's like, I'm German, my parents are German, we are German. Like, oh, like, like they don't believe. They were like, okay, because they are expecting something more, because your hair is dark like black, right? And they don't expect that their fellow German will be black, right? But will have hair, black hair, sorry, that will have black hair. I think one of the, but I don't know about you guys, but this is my thinking that, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't, I said I will share the link. I didn't share the link, and now the video is so long. Oh, I'm so sorry. You didn't remind me. I wanted to share the link. So I said, um, the first, like me, I try not to allow any of those kind of a thing. For example, when, for example, if you work in the hospital, you know that many of our people are nurses, assistant nursing, even kitchen helpers, different kind of things there. So if you are a doctor, for example, yeah, most likely when people come across you, their first thought is not going to be that you are a doctor. Good evening. Good evening, Andrew. They are going to be thinking every other person there. And so we have to take it easy on ourselves. And, because even though we want to think very highly of ourselves and say, well, I've done well for myself. I studied so hard. I worked so hard now. I am in this position. I am this medical doctor on this high people. You have to take into consideration that they are seeing also all the other black people who are in the service sector, who are in the kitchen helping to bring food for the hospital, who are assisting the nurses, who are nurses themselves. You understand, right? And they are going to be looking at you there. So be mindful of how you protest. Don't protest in a way to put down your fellow black people that are working in those places, because for me it was always something that is conflicting, like, do I want to say I am not this person? I remember one time when I worked with the UN. At that time, when I was like when I was maybe going to the kitchen, or maybe like going to another section of the building, because it's usually a very big building, and maybe there's a presentation going on. I want to go there, something like that. I see people coming to me asking me maybe question, please, where can I go, like this, like their expectation of what you are doing there is different. And then you see some people very curiously looking at your badge. They want to see your badge. And it makes me uncomfortable. So most times I'm not showing my badge, I'm flipping it. I'm not showing my badge, I'm flipping my badge. I'm putting it inside my pocket, like, or like just putting them inside my shirt, like you cannot just see my badge, something like that. So um because, for example, sometimes, because you see most of the people who do the cleaning work are people, and when they see you there, they are happy, you are also happy to see them, like you say hello to each other. And so when someone is looking at you and thinking, oh, maybe you are part of them, and like, I don't know, that's my feeling. I'm feeling that if you are saying, oh, no, 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 I'm not part of them, or I'm not you are like trying to say I'm better than them, my dignity is higher than theirs, or something like that. I feel like there's no need for all that. You understand me? Like, we're humans first. We are humans first, and we have the same need. We have the same need to be appreciated, to be accommodated, to be seen as human, first, as relevant people, regardless of how we are contributing. And important, they have a job doing, they can feed their family. You are not as black as no, I don't like that kind of inference. Exactly, exactly. Exactly. And for example, they will automatically speak English with you, or they want to practice English with you. And I had a friend, she doesn't speak English. She's speaking French, right? And people attribute our dark skin to English, you know. And I remember one day I was in a tram, and one lady, she was speaking French to me, and that was unusual. You know, she was like, something, she was saying something in French. I just understood the first few sentences, and I was like, okay, that is too much now. I can't follow. And she's like, Anglais is here. I say, yeah, English, you know. So, like, you know, like, okay. So people attribute English or French to us based on our colonial history also, you understand? And there's a lot of attribution. I feel like the main issue is that we are not in a place of power. We are not in a place of determining anything. And so we should try to protect ourselves in how we react in developing a coping mechanism. It's not going to be the same every day. And sometimes you are going to face a lot of difficulty. For example, getting a job that will commensurate to your qualification is one of the hardest thing that you will do as a black person in Europe. In America, I think it's easier, or I tend to think so. I don't know, but in Europe, you are most likely underemployed. So don't let it get to you. You know, remember that we've come a long way, and you know, hopefully it will continue to get better. You know, yeah. That one also, you know, they don't want they don't want it's crazy, you know, they don't want I'll just be looking at them say, see person wey dem dey wear pampers, e still dey there, dey get mouth. And it's crazy, right? It's crazy. And for example, if you are in the pediatry, some parents don't want you to also care for their baby, you know, something like that. So, and is is a rejection that you feel, and I feel that those things are actually the more important things. Those institutionalized ways of putting people down, putting people out of job, not giving people the accommodation they desire or they need. I feel like those things are so important, but this question of where are you from normally takes it away, uh, makes the wrong things to become the burning topic, instead of maybe, for example, underemployment. For example, you know, underemployment, like for example, you see someone that went to school, studied, did everything, have all the degrees, and then their Oyibo counterpart, they will get a job immediately in the field. They will be growing in 3 years. They will maybe leading, whereas the other one is still struggling. If not been able to land the first job, you know, may have to go and do another training, may have to be grappling around, is doing something underemployed, you know. And I feel that is actually the real problem we have, because that system of undervaluing and underemploying our population keeps us in the poverty uh, um, you know, index, you know. So we are not able to overcome living in poverty, because no matter what you have done to study, to work hard, to learn the language, to you don't get any job, for example, you know. And then you see the people that you started with, maybe you went to school together with them, maybe 10 years down the line, they are already professors, they are leading institutions. And meanwhile, in that profession, you have not even been able to land one job, right? And you may have to go and retrain, you may have to do something underpaid, you may have to go and help in the kitchen, you may have to do whatever, trying to put food on your table. And all this thing is weighing on the psyche. And so when you are having conversation of where are you from, it's taking, I mean, all of them are legitimate because people have different needs, right? But I think in the hierarchy of needs, I would think underemployment, unemployment, lack of accommodation are more burning issues for our people that's supposed to be in the forefront, um yeah. Okay, for example, so there's always that situation, right? And even though there's a lot of teaching to sensitize them, or like it's something that is already inbuilt, they can't help it somehow. So instead of getting angry, like all this media outburst doesn't help anybody. They are just trying to sell their papers, to get their views and all those things. But maybe if we can have lobbies that will be in the parliament to lobby the needs that we have, for example, that would be a good place to start. But we don't have all these things because why? Because we are all struggling in different forms, in different ways. So in all this petty struggle, we are struggling, we are not able to come together to have a voice, to form a cliche, to be able to push for any agenda, to present ourselves, our troubles to any political open. I think this is the things that we are not having. And then um, our need are basically not considered in policy making, right? For example, there was this video that I saw on Facebook. This man, he was talking about refugees, how, for example, they can come from Africa directly. So he was like, okay, let's do a little bit of role play. I'm an African and I want to come to the UK. How am I going to be able to come to the UK if I don't have, um, maybe I should show you this, but maybe I will not let it to talk. So this is the MP say, I am a 16-year-old orphan escaping a war zone. Um, I have a sibling legally in the United Kingdom. What is a safe and legal route for me to come to the United Kingdom, for example? Well, the lady was just beating about the bush. She couldn't say anything per se, right? And so basically, they have maybe programs for other uh, people, like for Iran, for Afghanistan, for all these places. But for example, there's a lot of battles going on in Ethiopia. They don't have any program for them. There's something going on in Ukraine. They have a safe passage for them to just pass and come in. That's what I mean. So you recognize their need for safety, that they can live, and then you do something about it. But we don't have all those things, and it's because we don't have the possibility to actually lobby for and make demands. So there is no consideration of our needs for policymakers. So the policies that we enjoy are actually the ones that is targeting other populations. We just kind of latch into it. There are no policies that are specifically made to meet our needs as a community, as a population, as a subgroup in the society. And again, that is also another part. How do we treat ourselves? Yeah. You can see the lady, she can't answer anything. You say you could engage with and the man is like, okay, and how will I engage with this thing? And he said, you could, if you can get to the UK airport. And then how can I get to the UK airport when I don't even have a visa? So it's not saying because you don't have any program for this specific group for Africans. right? So yeah, so this is the lady that we are talking about. Let me show you the video of this lady we are talking about. I may not let it talk because of copyright issues. um Let me see. Yeah, so then, yeah, the video have taken so long, but we can end now. Here, so this is so she said the answer. Said the let me start from beginning. She said, how? Because I wasn't giving her the answer that she wanted. It just went on, and then it became really uncomfortable. So I'm standing with two other black women, and this lady approaches me, just matches up to me. I am in the middle, and she takes my hair, and takes and moves it and says she wants to see my name badge. And I didn't know about anyone else, but I wouldn't um, be so forward, right? So as to touch somebody's hair or touch their without permission, especially, So, but she was an elder, so I kind of like, okay, let that slide. So, and then she asked me where I was from. And so, I'm watching, I'm sharing it directly from Facebook, but I will, I don't want copyright issues. So, this is basically the conversation that we are talking about, right? So, we can't have it both ways, right? That's why we have to do our own self well. Like there's enough money in Nigeria where we can redo our places, but we are not doing that. So who is to blame? Who is to blame, right? Um, but be that as it may, we should still teach our children. First of all, they should own it, even if it is into their 10th generation, no big deal. Except it comes at a time where it's not visible on their body anyway, anyhow, that they are Africans. But as long as they have black skin, it shouldn't be a problem for them. No, let them say it. And that lady was very rude, right? She feel like this woman, she was not there. She's not supposed to be there, so she was rude. She has a privilege, like she feel like that privilege gives her the power to subjugate other people. That's why she's coming, touching her hair, taking it back, reading her name back, and started interrogating her, right? So for whatever made her do that, sometimes God allows some of these situations to happen, so that some of these things, and some of these things that people are subjected to every day, can get into the limelight. And the person will say, they know say na bad thing, make him know say you don't have the right. You cannot just go and touch somebody and touch their hair and touch their skin, like they are not objects in a museum. It's their life, right? Right. So while we hope that the Nigerians, Africans will get their acts together, meanwhile, let us continue to work hard to not be disrupted, to allow our mental health to be disorientated because of different ism. There are so many things that you can't even explain. Like, the only thing you can even point to is like an example. You may not really know, right? Honestly, you know another, exactly. I feel like sometimes God allows this kind of situation. So that woman has been in that corridor of power. Imagine someone that is in the presence of the queen, at the back of the queen every time. So she's exposed to so much power, and she has that so much privilege, and so she's doing something like that. Someone, and she's the godmother of Prince William, the heir to the British throne. So you can know that it's not a small thing for God to allow something like this to happen. And when issue of Megan was going on, they say, oh, because she's a bad person, she's a diversity, she's a this. So now, this issue is still coming back again from them. So if someone that has been so much long part of this institution is behaving like this, so you can imagine it, yeah? Mayowa, I greet you. So my people, it's been a very long discussion. I hope we made justice to it. I hope you are able to take something away from this video this evening. And I hope that those of you that will join the video, that will watch the video later, that you are able also to take something away from it. In conclusion, I will say, we can never know how anybody will come at us, but we can always know how we want to respond. So we should teach ourselves our own defense mechanism to say, no matter what somebody comes at you with, that you have a way that you deal with it. And for the most part, that you don't let it get to you to disrupt your day, and you're carrying out your duties and whatever you are doing, that it takes your joy in any situation. You understand me? So I feel like that is basically what we need to do. And for our children that are born here, because for us who are first generation Africans, to say we're African is a done deal. We have lived in Africa, we have experiences in Africa. In fact, we have nostalgia of a lot of things. So it's very easy for us to say we're Africans. But for our children, they have lived here all their life. Many of them have never been to Africa. And in the future, they are children. So let us teach them to own their heritage. There's nothing bad in saying where you are from. That you are part of the new country that you grow up and were born into is a legitimate something to desire to be part of it, but it doesn't erase your roots. Your roots are always going to be part of you. It's going to be in your DNA. So don't let it be offensive to you when someone says anything about your roots. Own your roots. It's part of you. It's part of you. Take it, embrace it, and say it first. Don't let somebody use it as an attack first. If someone asks you about yourself, or you are in a situation to talk about yourself, start with saying who you are, and who you are should include your root. As long as you have this color, just say you are a Nigerian, your parents are from Nigeria, you were born here, you lived here, and end of the question. So any other thing the person wants to ask you is beyond, the information you want to be sharing with the public, and you tell the person, well, that's my personal life. I don't talk about my personal life with strangers, right? So just say the things that you feel comfortable to say. Above all, don't let it be something that someone wants to be prodding and saying we are African, and then you are evading it. There's no need for that. Own it, right? Africa is the way it is today, but it's not going to be like that forever. Nothing is forever. Everything will change. Everything will change, and yeah, it will get better. Dare to be optimistic and own it. Own it. We didn't make it. This is how we met it, and we will own it, and we can do better. I believe so, yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all your support. Have a great evening and a great weekend ahead. Bye. Bye. Yeah. We must be less emotional. I accept. Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. I greet you.